Hello, this is Karen White, and you're hanging out with GrownFolksMusic.com.
Karen White, once again, welcome to GrownFolksMusic.com. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
You're very, very welcome. We're just going to jump right in. People have been asking where you are. They don't realize that you've been away from the spotlight for a reason. So if you could tell the grown folks why they haven't seen you and why.
Well, it's been a while, actually. I stepped away from the business, and it wound up being like 18 years before I came back and put out anything. And I stepped away. I was going through a really dark period in my life. My mom passed. I got a divorce from super producer Terry Lewis. My father passed, and I really went into a really dark depression. At the time, I didn't realize that's what it was because I've been very much a driven person all my life. I knew I wanted to sing in elementary. I went to school with Wendy Robinson from the Game, the actress, and so she'll tell you, like, I was a promoter in elementary. Everybody knew me. I was Karyn White back then. You know, I wanted to sing and put together groups, and I was a track star, and I competed with boys playing tetherball and basketball. So I was this, really outgoing person. And being in L.A., I really feel like I started very young. So, and I found out one thing about myself. I was very successful at putting together a goal and a plan and achieving that plan. And I was really great at that. But what happened was that carried on into my life. I had success. And then I realized I didn't like the person I was becoming with the success. And you would have thought it would have been different, right? You get everything that you've worked so hard, beautiful husband, family, career, and to be unhappy with yourself. And I was taking a lot of my blessings for granted. And so I really stepped back because once I started seeing things spiral out of control and I was becoming who I said I didn't ever want to be, I said I need to work on Karyn. I know how to create, I know how to win at a project. I know how to, have a goal, but my spiritual, who I was becoming as a person, I wasn't proud of. And so that's why you guys didn't hear from me. I didn't want to be seen.
That's very, thank you for your transparency. That's very candid.
Oh, yeah.
Because a lot of people a lot of us artists may have just kept on going because it's very hard sometimes to give up the spotlight and the accolades and things like that. And so most people might have kept going until it just said, until life got to a point where it said stop. So thank you for
exactly.
So thank you for your transparency.
Thank you. And I do want to say this because this is something that's pretty special. And this is all stuff that I'm just learning, when you get 50 and, you just be like, you know what, I did that damn thing. So let me understand. I stepped away. When I did step away from the business, I still was creative and doing business. So I took on something that was totally new for me. I did real estate. I became an investor. So I would buy homes, live in these homes. I would buy maybe start like $500,000, and then I would go and fix them up, and then it'd be in like $1 million subdivisions, and then I would fix these homes up. They were maybe in foreclosure or whatever, and then I would sell them. So I would move every 2 years, and then I started buying rental properties. So that really kept me busy too. And I looked up, and I just having my daughter Terry was very busy. So I felt. I had a wonderful mother and a great childhood, and I know that you have to really, especially, when you have both parents, a lot of that are in the business, a lot of these kids, they don't really turn out so great. So I really knew that I had to step back, and not say, because I've had some people, some women say to me, well, we do it all the time. Why did you do it? Well, that maybe you could do that, but for me, I knew that I'm a person that I have tunnel vision. Once I'm on a goal, it was hard for me to balance. I'm always trying to find a balance to being a mother, being a wife, being an entertainer, because I'm so focused. I didn't really know how to be great at it all, honestly. So anyway,
and sometimes you can't. I mean, aside from the interview piece of this, just just talking in general. Sometimes we've been told we can have it all, right? But sometimes you can't. Sometimes something will give. Something has to give, and so
you are so right. Exactly. Yep. You're right.
So sometimes you can't have it all. You have to pick and choose.
And there's a season for everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
I said there's a season for that, and that's what I realized too. And if we did, I think that's where the appreciation, and because I had a lot of things come quick. You got to think, by the time I'm 25, I have an amazing husband, who's iconic, and I have this, beautiful family, because we had, he had children. I was a stepmother. I had a great career, first time out, just, go gold, go platinum. So you can really start thinking that stuff is just supposed to be that way. And God has a way of humbling you to be like, no, I need to make you remember, that you prayed for this, you sacrificed for this. But then it's just so easy. I mean, it's just sometimes you can just keep, when things happen great, you can kind of take that for granted. And I would definitely say that I've definitely started taking it for granted, which, like I said, I didn't like that person. That person, I don't ever want to take, what God has blessed me with for granted. So I knew I was off track.
Because of a lot of folks in this grown folks demographic and generation, was so used to hearing music from their favorite artists on the radio, they think you can just jump back on the radio. Talk about the challenges you face, even as an accomplished artist, as you rebuild and take on this next chapter of your career.
Wow. Yeah, I definitely want to talk about the challenges as being as they call me, a legend. It's tough because, it changed. The business changed, and I believe it changed for the better, because I am able to get back into an industry where the radio and the record labels aren't in control of my destiny. That is, to me, is the biggest blessing, because you can do it yourself. There's an artist by the name of Amanda Palmer. She's a punk white artist, and she has what she calls patrons, that over 9,000 patrons, and they pay her she gives away her music, and they pretty much fund her whole lifestyle to the tune of, I think they even give her like $300,000 a year, and she just makes music for these people and does concerts. And so there's a new business happening here, and I love the fact that you can go direct to your audience. And people say the record companies, they took from us, they did this, but they built me. They gave me my name. Like Tina Turner said, I got my name. So I'm starting over. Give me my name. And I'm proud to say that, that I can do this. It's a lot of work. So the record companies took the chance on me before. They should have reaped what they reaped. They spent the money. They spent millions of dollars so people know my name. And so I'm glad that I can come back and still, like I said, I don't look at success as before. Before it was all about, sales. Are you platinum? Are you gold? All breaking all these records and Grammys. But for me, the new music business says to me, you get to do what you love for a living. If you can do that, that's success. And so that's my success. And so, and I have a great love for independent artists, and I'm always, I hope to show people through what I'm doing, and I try to be transparent and just tell them, it's just, being consistent, just in being a business, because a lot of people, they want people to believe in them and spend money, but they don't want to spend their own money. So I'm like, no, you have to. If this is you got to be the first person to believe in you before you expect anybody else. So it's a double-edged sword, but I love the fact that I can do it. Is it hard? Extremely. And you know what? My success isn't for me. I tried this before. I put out an album about 5 years ago, Carpe Diem. It was my first record on Karyn Enterprises, and I lost a lot of money because I didn't understand the industry that I was getting into. See, I spent money at radio, and I spent money on a publicist. I'm not a Warner Brothers. There's no way I can do that. So I learned so much that 5 years ago, and I regrouped, and I'm like, I can't compete with I wouldn't even say the Laylas, the Beyoncés, and the people that are doing that, because there's no way you have to, like I said, my success is different, and I there's no way I can afford to do that. It doesn't make good business sense. The dollars, it costs, at least $100,000 to break a record on radio. So for me, I tell people, this is, up to you. If you love this music, it's up to you to share it and spread it, because we are the new media. And I believe I'm going to be the future, and I hope that more artists, legendary artists like myself, will see what I'm doing and just, not look at it as like a failure, and just build, because it's really, and I admire these YouTubers and these artists that are doing it. I mean, they're showing us every day that the world is changing, and you better get a hold and keep up, because it is not the same. And so my mindset for the old industry is definitely like I'm not doing nothing like I did it 5 years ago. So praise God for that.
It's interesting what you just said, and I wasn't going to ask you this, but you led me down a path. It's wonderful that you discovered. Unfortunately, it was costly. It was a costly lesson, but you discovered that the old model does not work anymore, unless you're making a certain type of music, or you're a certain age, or whatever. Yep. But perhaps Karyn Enterprises could involve artist development. I can't tell you how many, being what we do at Grown Folks Music, is we leave the light on, like that famous motel chain talks about. We leave the light on for the veteran artists, and we don't just stop there. We also embrace all genres, all and all age groups. Our criteria is just that the music be good. But what you said is so important, because we do leave the light on for the veterans. There's so many veterans that are stuck in the past and what the label used to do for them. They don't know the first thing about press releases or getting the music out or whatever. Because they used to have a label, and they just showed up at the label and they were signed. They did what they did, played their demo, they were signed, and then the label took care of all of that. And some of these artists feel very, very defeated right now about why they just can't hop back on the radio and the television. And, although it was a costly mistake for you, perhaps, I'm not telling you where to take your company. I'm just saying perhaps you could be a home and get into artist development for the veterans, because they have not, Miss White, they have not embraced the reality of where we are right now with this music. And if you want to still continue to be an artist, and if you still want to create, these are the steps that you have to take. And you have to throw out everything that you thought you knew and everything that you used to do back when you were signed at Warner Brothers and all these other fabulous labels. Yes, you have, because labels are shrinking, right? So you have to throw all of that out, and you have to be ready to receive the new way that, that people are doing things. And two, just, also it's not over, because a lot of them are ready to quit because they just don't know how. They don't know. They're stuck. They're stuck between being old and young. They're not old, but they're not young.
Right.
So I would encourage you to just to wrangle up some artists as you see them. Form a collective and get them back. Help them.
Yes, I want to just say that it's so beautiful what you said, and that you do care, and that you leave the light on. And I want to just commend you and your station and what you guys represent, because a lot of us do feel thrown away. And that's just honest. When I speak to a lot of them, and I'm constantly trying to, I believe I want to show them, because you're so right. I do, because I am that person. These people that I grew up on, and you know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh my God, you're amazing. Like, don't you ever not think you're amazing? And, and I want to pour into them, I want them to keep doing music. And it's so crazy, because it is so true about they're stuck. And I believe that's probably what my calling is to do, because first of all, I'm like you. I'm very passionate about the music, the artists, and it doesn't have to be me. My success is their success. So I want to show them that, it's work, and that's a lot of them. It's even hard for me. I'm not going to lie, Kimberly. I have had to just really give this to God and go back to, like I said, just, Lord, you have to do it all, because if you got to keep your eye on the oil and the eye on the storm. It's just straight ahead. I can't look at what everybody else is doing, because you have to know that, you are making a difference, and you're really starting over. Like you said, there is no label. You have to know that you are everything. You have to be the publicist. You have to sell the music. You got to connect. You got to learn social media. You got to edit. You got to get with the producers. It's everything. And sometimes I just want to scream, right? Because I'm like, because you really can't afford to. It just doesn't, you really have to be. But it's worth it if you love what you do, and you love, right. And you got to love it. If you're doing this to be famous in today's, or to be, you can forget it. You can't. That why has got to be real strong. You have got to know that, your music is healing, it's affecting people. And so this is just so refreshing to speak to you, because, I definitely, it's something that I definitely see in my future. And I would love to be that, I'll do it. I want to be the poster child, just like Amanda Palmer is doing it. She's doing it. But but we have to train people. But even because, let me say now, I'm not even on iTunes right now, or I'm strictly, exclusively at KarynWhite.me. That's where you can find me. And I'm trying to, people are going, why wouldn't you get on there? Well, first of all, they take 30%. And I want to train people. I have to be, of course I'll do it later, but my core fan base, I want them to get used to saying, why? Spend the money with me. You know my name. You know what I mean? Why do you have to go to iTunes or Amazon? Why should I, if you want to support me, I have to teach you how to support me. And especially being a business, especially Black people, we have to understand this is our business. And it's all right. You have to do this in order to survive in business. And so, you can't look at, what are people going to think about me? And so I'm loving it, because I'm really, it's starting to, I've had this is my second week with the record out, and I've had a lot of sales. I've had about 100 sales, which is I'm really proud of. The majority has been outside of the United States.
I saw that.
Yeah, and they have been paying double. Like Japan will pay, to get the product. So it just shows, I'm like, what is it why do they put a value on our music and we don't value our own? I don't know what that is. I don't really, but I want to look at that, and I want to talk about that, and I want to challenge that. You know, like I said, it's just it's really a fun time. It's scary, it's fun, and it's just like, you know, you got to throw out, like you said, you got to just throw out everything you know, and just that's the fun part, because I go, that went viral. See, like before, I was such a perfectionist, Kimberly. I would have to have, like, you know, I can't do this video. Everything has to be amazing. Like, you know, edit that over. You know, spend 100,000 on this and videos. And so now I just did a little post in the car with my daughter, right, driving. That thing is like almost 100,000 views. If I would have done a perfect video, I probably wouldn't even got that many views. You get what I'm trying to say?
Exactly.
So you gotta love the fact that they just want you. And I'm like, shoot, great, because I want to give me. You understand? So if you have to, like you said, I see the pearls, and I'm just, and like I said, these, you know, YouTubers and people like you that have their blogs, you guys are my heroes. And I go, wow, if they can do it, come on. You just got to do the work. You got to they built a fan base of, you know, 500,000. These people, they're doing the work. They show up every day, and they are doing the work. So get with it, or get out of the business. That's my motto.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
I could probably talk to you all day about this.
I know,
these are
girl.
conversations that we have, that the staff has to email all the time. But I'm gonna move on to the next chapter of your of your rebuilding and your relaunching, which involves acting. So before we talk about the new movie, tell us how you got involved with the gang over in Kimberlywood on Beauty and the Baller. And will you be in more episodes?
Oh, okay. Well, I'm a series regular, so yes.
Oh, good.
I'm so blessed, and that happened. This is nothing but God again, and this is how I know. You know, I was listening to Steve Harvey on the master class, and he says that God, when he sees you about to give up, he gives you a bone. And God just did that with Beauty and the Baller. Centrist picks it up today, right before I'm about to release a record. And first of all, for it to get picked up, and me knowing the creator is Michael Ajakwe, who, you know, has written on shows like Martin. He's like head writer. He's an Emmy Award-winning writer. He's, you know, he just he never gave up. And my little fellow Libra. So he called me, and I'm just like, wow. I mean, it just showed me what perseverance looked like. And so I auditioned for this. This was me first acting. I used to act back in the day when I was in high school, and I wanted to do more. I did like this great production of Stephanie Mills, who's an idol of mine, The Wiz. I did her music. You know, I played in the, you know, I played her, Dorothy, in The Wiz. Whenever I would win talent shows, I would do, you know, something from The Wiz. So that was my jam. That whole, you know, brand of things. It really was a big part of my youth. So I had always wanted to get back in acting. I said this time, you know, I was fearless. Like I said, once you start getting in your 40s, you're like, I'm doing it all. So I started taking acting classes, more vocal classes, and because I knew I was getting back, and I hadn't been doing it over 17 years. So there was no way in the world that I was just going to think, you know, I'm just going to step back in it. So I really studied and trained, and I did this. This is the thing too. I tell people, you never know where your break is going to come from. I did this one woman who asked me to do her little hood show in Inglewood. It was at a church. She was doing I can't even remember the name. I have to remember it, but it was a cute show that she was producing. I said, okay, I'll do it. You know, I wasn't snooty about what I would do coming back into the entertainment industry, right? So Michael Ajakwe just happened to be there, and he saw me, and he loved my spirit and told me, you know, I want you to read for this part. And I didn't really, you know, I had to read for a lot of parts because I really was just learning acting. So it was like, I'm going to write something for you. So it was only God. You know, there's just lessons in that, because people think it's going to come on this, you know, I saw him at this big, you know, function in Hollywood. No, it was a thing, you know, it was that I didn't expect. And it was him loving my spirit. And so just being, you know, just being a good person and caring about people. You know what I mean? And not having that whole spirit of, I'm an entertainer and I'm all this. So that's how I got started, and that's how I wound up on Kimberlywood and it's a funny role because I'm just, I don't know, I'm a baller's ex-wife, and you never know what's going to come out of my mouth. It's funny because I just get to be crazy and just wild, and, so that's really, it was fun for me to do because I'm not like that at all. I don't really like dressing up. I don't like, I'm very private. I'm just nothing like her. So it was fun to just, be wanting to be everything, and just, that was fun for me to just, be in that kind of chick.
Do you have a Tommy Ford story? Because we missed him.
Oh, yes, we missed Tommy. Man, yeah, Tommy Ford. It's just, I didn't realize how brilliant, being able to be on the set with him, how we always knew he was great, and we knew Martin was, a crazy fool and nut. But I got to see that side of Tommy, and I just didn't realize he was so incredible on his own, and just, doing scenes with him. He just blew me away, I was and just a great person, just loving, and, just a wonderful talent, and loving person, just very down to earth. That's probably a good story for me. Just him giving me a hug because he knew I hadn't acted, had never acted, and he made sure that he gave me pointers and, didn't feel like, well, she knows, I'm not going to tell her. So he just took me by his in his wing, and I appreciate that. So that was really sweet of him to give me pointers in acting.
Gail and the Storm. Tell us.
Oh yeah.
Tell us about the movie. I heard from Derek that it was shot in a matter of days, and that the soundtrack was recorded in a matter of days. Tell us about Gail and what her situation is.
Well, Gail and the Storm, it's a story about a singer and a down-on-his-luck music producer and they rediscover their passion for music and find themselves along the way. So Gail she's a woman that's taken her power back. She, like myself, which is very loosely based on my life. So she left the entertainment industry, and she didn't let her past mistakes define her. She went on to become, a real estate investor, which is very close to my life. She didn't want to get back into the music industry because, she didn't believe that, that the system, she didn't want to conform to the system of being what today's music is. So that's a lot like me, and she didn't let her age deter her from going after her dreams. And she fought against the music system, and she believes that real music doesn't have an expiration date. And that's the one thing I love. She's a very strong, quirky. The character was kind of Betty. Do you remember the legendary singer Betty Davis in Nasty Gal?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. She was like before like Nona Hendrix, and so she was like just kind of real funky and raw.
And my colleagues are gonna kill me because we have one who is such a music historian that he's gonna be like, "What, Kim? What?"
Right. Like, you don't know Kim? No. But she's amazing. No, Nasty Gal. So that was one of her hits, and so I kind of take on that kind of energy when you see me perform. And it wasn't a Karen White performance. I love it because it was just like, it's this whole like bringing back the funk. And so some of the tracks that when you hear like I Am the Storm and Hurricane and Love Quarantine, and it was a real specific genre. We wanted to make sure that
I was going to ask you about that. That it sounded a little 70s and 80s. And, oh, my God, I do know Betty Davis because we just put a picture of her up in July. She's married to Miles Day. Okay, so we put a picture of her up on our Instagram. I do know who she is.
Yeah.
I'm redeemed myself. I do know who she is. I just haven't heard the music, but I know her picture and her face. But I was going to ask you that the music does sound a little 70s and 80s, and I wanted to ask you, was I correct in concluding that it
Yes, you were.
Okay.
Yes, you are. Yeah, so that was the whole bringing back the funk. And, I was really inspired by, picked up this, Childish Gambino, record, right? His last album, Awaken My Love, CD, he is bringing back the funk. I mean, you would think he was in there with Bootsy, Parliament. I mean, it is dope. And I heard, what is that, Redbone?
Redbone, yeah. They will.
Yeah, and I was like,
yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, and it just sparked this whole, I said, I know what I'm going to do. And it just woke up that side of me, because we don't hear that kind of music. Music don't sound like that. I mean, you got, like, what's his name, don't believe me, just watch, he's doing it. But I was like, if he's doing it, I was like, wow. And it really inspired me. And so that's the direction, I wanted to, like, kind of like, with Love Quarantine, it's got that Rick James thing on it. With Lame Excuses, it's got that Bootsy Still Parliament on I Understand. So she's like a hurricane. So this whole, when you see the film, you'll see the performances, especially the up-tempo stuff, where I just wanted to capture that, that whole 70s, 80s, feel of music, which is my favorite era.
Okay. How do I want to? For almost 30 years, Superwoman has been an anthem. What song is an anthem in your life?
Oh, what song is an anthem?
I said for almost 30 years, Superwoman has been an anthem. What song is an anthem in your life?
Oh,
like, what's your go-to anthem song? Yes.
Right. Oh, my goodness. Let me see. Right now, it's probably Be Optimistic by the Sounds of Blackness. As long as you keep your head to the sky, girl, you can win. And, of course, Earth, Wind, and Fire, keep your head to the sky. Anything with not giving up your dreams. That's my anthem right now.
Amen. Amen.
You can do it. Music is healing. I need that, too. Keep me going.
What is your definition of grown folks music?
Oh, wow. Do you want an artist or do you want a feeling?
We have no correct answer. So whatever you feel the definition of grown folks music is.
Oof. My definition of grown folks music is a combination of Al Green, Marvin Gaye. I mean, it's just pure soul, and it's a musical extravaganza. It takes you somewhere. It makes you dream. It makes you happy. Like, I listened to the song, anything by Stevie Wonder. It's like, if you want to be happy, because I was feeling a little depressed, I was like, oh my God, Stevie Wonder just makes you happy to be alive. So it has a life, and it doesn't have an expiration on it.
You mentioned earlier that part of the reason that you took some time off is that you didn't like who you were becoming. My question for 2017 is, who is Karyn White now?
Well, Karyn White knows who she is and knows who she is not. And she operates out of love and not power. And she is grateful. I mean, grateful for the whole ride. And she is present, and she is not. She is present. So she the blessings that come, she sees it, she recognizes it, and she embraces it. And I love, and that's who I am today.
Wonderful. You've blessed me today. Thank you for talking to us. You've blessed me.
grownfolksmusic.com